Good day everyone. Today I will be discussing about the agrarian reform from the Spanish colonial Philippines to the present. So la- land reform has gained great significance all over the world as it aims to achieve social justice and full development of human dignity. Throughout time, the issue of land reform has been persistent, demanding measures to stop social unrest. Worst scenarios were observed during the colonial era, when the Spanish colonizers introduced new land-holding system to the caciques. The introduction of torrent system created serious problems that have far-reaching effect on the early system of landholding. The nature and habitats lost their ancestral domains to the colonialists. The poor economic and social conditions of the peasants in the Philippines need immediate agrarian reform measures by the Philippine government. So, ini nga land reform. This land reform is the process of changing land ownership and use. So, akan na pinaka main objective sini is social justice and dignity na ma-achieve la nato through the equitable distribution of the land. And now let's proceed to the Spanish period. Filipinos already lived in village and barangay even before the Spaniards came to the Philippines. The settlement were ruled by chieftains or datos who comprised the nobility. There were also maharlikas or freemen, the liping na mamahay, or serfs, the aliping sagigilid or slaves. Despite to the existence of social structure, everyone had access to the fruits and soils. Rice was the medium of exchange as money was yet unknown. So in this period, this colonization was characterized by village village life para sa mga harlikas, freemen na aliping na mamahay and aliping sa gigilid. So during this period, ang kanda pinaka gamit for exchange for yan nga present day for us, ang gagamit nila is money. So in that period, ang gagamit nila for exchange is rice. Now moving on to the Spanish period, the Spaniards introduced the concept of encomienda to the Philippines. Encomienda was a system of giving land to the Spanish conquerors that were loyal to the Spanish monarch. As a matter of policy, encomienderos must defend his encomienda from external attack, maintain peace and order within, and support the missionaries. In turn, the encomenderos were given the right to collect tax from the Indios. Because of this, encomenderos started to abuse their power by renting their land to a few powerful landlords, and the native who once free cultivated the land became share tenants. So during this period, during this period, or what we called Spanish encomienda system. So this encomienda system, may siya mga these are the following nangyari. The granted of the legal conquerors, governance and terms, tapos an displacement of farmers. So yung mga Spanish ng mga tao, pansera, may sira gin akan na power gin use niya for abusement of other Filipino people. Now let's talk about the agrarian uprising. Taxation was not the reason for the revolts of Filipinos during the Spaniards period, but the agrarian unrest as well. The agrarian revolt happened between 1745 to 1746 in Batangas, Laguna, Cavite, and Bulacan. The revolt happened in the towns of Lian and Nasugbu in Batangas. The grabbing of lands by the Catholic religious orders angered the native landowners and demanding that their land be returned based on ancestral domain. However, the Spanish priests refused, which resulted to riots and massive looting of convents and burning down of church and ranches. Troops were sent from Manila to Batangas to quell and the disturbance. The encounter was a bloody and those who surrendered were pardoned. The uprising resonated in the towns of the neighboring province, notably Binyan, Imus, Silang, Kawit, Bacoor, and San Mateo, Taguig, Parañaque, and Hagonoy. The agrarian conflicts reached the ear of King Philip VI, who appointed Oider, Oider of Royal Audiencias and Chancillerias, Pedro Calderon Enriquez, to investigate the charge brought to against religious orders and to ascent, ascertain the validity of their titles to the land in question. The friars were ordered to submit their titles to a secular judge, but refused to comply, claiming an ecclesiastical exemption. The face of their opposition, the governor general dispossessed the friars of land which were said to have been illegally occupied by the friars and which they were continuing to hold without legitimate title, restoring the land to the crown. The case was appealed by the friars to the Loyal Audience of Manila and tribunal upheld to the first decision. Then the case was further appealed to the Council of the Indies in Spain and again the decision was confirmed. But the whole matter did not stop here. Subsequently, the friars won their case and returning the disputed lands and their ownership of the land remained intact even after the end of the Spanish regime. So during this period, the agrarian uprising, ang mga Filipino as ang mga simbahang Katoliko is nag-away-away sila because of the land. So during this ini nga pag Aragway, may mga harassment nga nangyari, but still the Catholic Church and nagdaog. And now let's move on to the first Philippine Republic, which is led by General Emilio Aguinaldo. So when General Emilio Aguinaldo came to power in 1899, the Malolos Constitution, which they crafted, intended to confiscate the so-called friars' land and the large estates. However, the first Philippine Republic was short-lived, so that the plan to confiscate the land was never executed. So during the Aguinaldo's administration, si Emilio Aguinaldo, he wanted to take land from the Catholic Church and from Catholic Church tapos sa mga big landlords para ihatag niya sa mga Filipino farmers. So yun, but it did not last long kaya nakurian siya nga himuon ini nga kanya project. So now let's move into American era. Realizing that being landless was the main cause of social unrest and revolt at that time, the Americans sought to an end to the miserable conditions of the tenant tilers and small farmers by passing several land policies to widen the base of small landholding and distribute land ownership among the greater number of Filipino tenants and farmers. So during this era, so ang US government kinbulugan nira ang mga Pilipino na magkayon sin kanra sarili nga sarili nga tuna para ma-stop na ini nga aragway about sa land. But the problem is ang mga Pilipino ginpanbaligil ani ra gyapon na pinanatag na kuan nga tuna sa kanra from the US government. And now let's proceed to the Commonwealth period. So the government, under the stewardship of President Quezon, realized that the land reform program should be implemented immediately. They saw the purchase of friars' land as a possible way to solve the problem of inequitable land ownership. They also saw that the homestead program could be transformed into a massive resettlement program if properly implemented. So during this period, the Commonwealth period, ang gobyerno nagbalyo sira mga tuna na lot but from Catholic churches. Tapos para sa colonial period, ginpanatag dat nira ang tuna sa mga farmers para maging equal na ang land ownership. Then moving on to the Japanese era. During this occupation, peasants and workers organized Hukbalahap o buong bayan laban sa mga Hapon. On March 29, 1942, as the anti-Japanese group, they took over the vast tracts and land and gave the land and harvest to the people. So during this era, naging sira ang mga Filipino farmers, naging sira sa grupo which is called the Hukbalahap para kalabanon ang mga Japanese. So they naging successful ito nga kantra, naging program or ito nga kantra mga grupo nga Hukbalahap. But until then, naging with the help of the military, pinankuwa ta kantra mga tuna from Hukbalahap. So naibalik ta sa mga Japanese. Now for them, the war was golden opportunity for people initiated to push through programs. Landlords were overpowered by the peasants, but unfortunately, at the end of the war, through the help of military police and civilian guards, landlords were able to retrieve their lands from the Balhab. So, mo na yun nga kanina ko nga nabawi ta sa mga Japanese ang kantatuna because of the help of the military police and the civilian guard. So, mo taton ang grupo nga Balahap, they just disappeared. Ito nga kanta. Now let's move on to the government initiative on agrarian reform. Now let's proceed to the Manuel Rojas administration. The Republic Act number 34 was enacted to establish a 70 to 30 sharing arrangement between tenant and landlord. The 70% of the harvest will go to the person who shouldered the expense for planting, harvesting, and for the work of animals. So during the Rojas administration, he conducted an act which is the act number 34. So ini nga si President Rojas naging mo siya system kundi ang mga farmers and landlords ay mag-share sila sa kanra mga harvest to their farmers. And now let's proceed naman to the President Elpidio Quirino administration. So through Executive Order number 355, the Land Settlement Development Corporation o LASCDCO was established to accelerate and expand the peasant resettlement program of the government. However, due to limited post-war resources, the program was not successful. So ini si President Elpidio Quirino nagimulat siya sin batas or law which is ini nga Executive Order number 355. So this naging unsuccessful din siya because of lack of resources and manaton naging unsuccessful ini nga kanya ginhimo nga kanya batas. And now let's move on to the presidency of Ramon Magsaysay. So President Ramon Magsaysay realized that the importance of pursuing more honest to goodness land reform program. He convinced the Elite Control Congress to pass several legislation to improve the land from situation. So ini si President Magsaysay pares kan President Quirino naghimulat siya sin awar siya paghimo he didn't make an act or but he make a system which is ang mga maghataglat siya mga tuna para sa mga Filipino farmers. But because of waray good nag lack of support from the waray siya nahanap nga mag-support sa kanya ang mga kuan waray sila paki-cooperate ang mga landowners, ang mga magyaman nga tawo tapos because of lack of fund para siton nga kanya program naging makuriton sa kanya mga himo nga kanya kuan kanya program but still naging successful iton sa tig-abot nga tig-abot nga panahon. And now let's proceed naman the presidency of Carlos P. Garcia. So there was no legislation passed in his term but he continued to implement the land reform programs of President Magsaysay. So ini si President Carlos Garcia, wala siya naipasa nga batas sa kanya pagiging in his administration, sa kanya presidency, but continue la niya kung ano ginhimo ni President Magsaysay.